So now let's talk about the important settings like unit, display, and graphics related settings in Fusion 360. So all of these settings are available in the preferences option, which you can access just by clicking your name. So right now on the top right corner, I have my name here, and that's because I am logged into my Fusion 360 account. So I'll click on this, and now I'm going to select preferences. And this will open the preferences window for us. Now on this preferences window, the very first option that you might want to change is design, and that's right here in the default units. So in the default units we have this option called design, and this design option has the unit setting. So this unit setting will affect your new drawing. So right now it is set to mm, so all the drawings which we are making are made in mm, but you can change it to centimeter, meter, inch, or feet. So if I change it to inch, then this won't affect my current drawing. Rather, it will affect all the new tabs or all the new drawings that I'll open. So for this case, I'll just keep it at mm. Now we have other options, like if you go to the general tab here, it will take you to some very simple options, like you can select your language, you can select the graphics driver if you have multiple available, and you can also set some default properties like the Z direction, which is upwards. You can change it to Y as upward direction. Also, the pan, zoom, and orbit shortcuts are right now customized as per the Fusion 360. But if you are accustomed to working with other software like SolidWorks, you can select SolidWorks here, and now pan, zoom, and orbit will be similar to SolidWorks. In this case, I'll keep it at Fusion 360. Also, when we press and hold Shift and mouse wheel, Fusion 360 orbits the drawing, and that's the default orbit type. So you can select the default orbit type from this, either constrained or free orbit. If you want to reverse the zoom direction, then you can check this box. And if you are accustomed to working with software like AutoCAD, then you may want to zoom in and zoom out in opposite direction, because in Fusion 360, the zoom in and zoom out direction is opposite to that of AutoCAD. But I'll keep this one unchecked for now. Now in the design setting here, I have an option here called design history, and this design history is basically what you see here on the timeline. So when you keep on adding objects, it will be added here on the timeline one after another. But if you don't want to capture this, you can select do not capture design history from this. Now if you select do not capture, then Fusion will not capture your design history, but that's not a recommended thing, because you would definitely want to capture design history so that whenever required, you can go back to the feature and update it whenever needed. Also, you can set it to prompt, and then it will automatically show you a prompt whether you want to capture or not your design history. So I'll change it to capture design history. Now moving on to this drawing tab, and right here you can change the standards of your drawing. So these standards are ASME or ISO. You can switch from any of these, or you can leave it to inherit from design, and your design standard will be used for your drawing as well. Also, you can change the same for your annotation unit. So annotations are the dimensions and text, and if you want to change the unit for that, you can change it from here. Now moving on to the material tab, and this is where you can change the default material type. So right now the default material type is metal and it's a steel. You can change it to some other material from this list. That's the default material which is applied to any object that you make in Fusion 360. Now then moving on to the graphics properties, and this is where you can change your graphics related setting. So the setting that you might want to change here is the display style. So right now, simple display is selected without glow or halo, and this will actually help us in improving the performance. So right now my settings are more inclined towards performance and less towards the visual appearance. You can also change the transparency effect to better performance or better display. I've selected performance because I don't want a laggy performance from my software. You can also change the frame rate, and you can decrease it if you want to improve the performance. Now moving on to unit and value display, and here you can change the precision of your units. For example, the general precision right now for my drawing is 3 decimal places. You can change it to maybe 2. For angle, the precision is just 1, and these are the scientific notations, and its precision you can change it from here as well. Similarly, you can change the decimal degree format from here. Right now it is selected as degrees, and you can change it to minutes and seconds if you want to. Also, you can change the decimal point display type. So the period is selected by default, but you can change it to comma if you want to. So the decimals will be, when you change to comma, decimals will be displayed with comma instead of this period. I'll leave it at period. Now finally moving to the preview option right here, and this preview option shows all the upcoming previews or all the upcoming features which might be added in Fusion 360. And if you want to have a look at these features, you can just check them, and you can just check these boxes and they will show up in your default software. But in this case, I'll just keep these unchecked, and as you can see, I only have this mesh workspace checked, which is in preview and soon might be added in Fusion 360. So these are some of the common settings that you can change. Now, if you want to apply the settings, simply click apply and hit OK to return back to the drawing area. But if for some reason you want to reset it to the default condition, then click on restore defaults, and all the settings from these options will just reset to its defaults. In this case, I don't want to reset to default, and I'll click on OK, and here we are back to our drawing area. Now, whenever you change the unit in the preferences, that is going to affect only your new drawing. So if I make a new drawing, that's only going to take that unit. So how about changing the unit of this drawing? Well, in order to do that, you can go to document setting, which is right here, and expand it. And inside this, we have the unit available for us, which is centimeter. Now, if you want to change it, click this icon, change active unit, and now change it to something else, for example millimeters, and click OK, and the unit's now updated. So now if I open a new drawing, it should open my new drawing with millimeter as the unit. So let's check that. I'll go to document setting and look at this. I have millimeter selected here, and that's not because I have selected millimeter here, but that's because I have selected millimeter in my preferences. So if I go to preferences and design, right here in the default unit, you'll notice that I have millimeter selected as my default unit. And that's why whenever I open a new drawing, it's always going to take millimeter as the default unit. So with that, I'm going to close all of these open tabs, and that was the preferences and general settings in Fusion 360.